When it comes to blacksmithing in Wrath of the Lich King Classic, it really is in a good place, and to be fair, there's lots of opportunities for making gold. It has its highs and lows throughout the expansion, and as you can imagine, its highs are mainly at the start of each new tier, and its lows are normally midway to the end of each tier, but there is one item that will remain relevant for every single player, no matter whether they wear cloth, leather, mail, or plate. Now, much like every single profession, you get your own personal profession bonus, which will give you additional stats. In the case of blacksmith, you get 2 additional sockets. You get one on your bracers and one on your gloves. As you can imagine, because you're just literally adding a socket, which you can put any gem in that you like, this does make for extremely good customization for your character. At the start of Wrath of the Lich King, you'll be called on by almost every character that uses a weapon, because you can make really good 200 item level maces, daggers for spellcasters, maces for spellcasters or healers, big juicy 2-handers for your DKs and your warriors, and then you can even make 2 pieces of gear for each type of plate wearer, so that's healers, or should we just say Holy Paladins, DPS plate wearers such as Warriors, DKs and Rep Paladins, and even 2 pieces of tanking gear. But you can actually make a 3rd piece of tanking gear because you can also make a shield. And early on, this shield is actually very good. High amounts of defense, good amounts of stamina, and just a massive amount of armor. And you've got to remember, all of these items are BOE. And because they're BOE and people are going to want to be doing as much damage as possible, or obviously hitting their defense cap as a tank, they're going to be wanting some blacksmithing items. The problem is, once that initial period of sort of pre-raid gearing is out of the way, and everybody who's wanting to go into Nax with their best possible weapon that they can, and they've got those crafted from you, then you've got that big sort of period of time where, okay, people with ults might be buying the odd weapon off of you and stuff like that, but really you're then waiting for Ulduar. You know, the beginning of each phase, when additional recipes or patterns become available, is when you're going to make the most gold. But there's one item that you'll make gold with throughout the entire expansion. Just want to say a quick thank you to all you guys that have joined the channel as a member in the scrolling banner below. More on how you can support the channel at the end of the video. And that's the Eternal Belt Buckle. So the Eternal Belt Buckle attaches an Eternal Belt Buckle into your belt, adding a socket. So everybody can use this on their gear. You can't craft a belt and then add this to a belt to try and make an extra 50, 60 gold or whatever, because it does make the item become soulbound. But everyone, from PvPers to PvEers, whether you're raiding, doing arena, it really doesn't matter what you're doing. You're going to want to benefit from this additional socket on your belt. I haven't got a belt. Everybody is going to want one of these Eternal Belt Buckles absolutely every single time they get a belt upgrade. So as you can imagine, throughout the entire expansion, pumping out these Eternal Belt Buckles, which the materials are not too difficult to get. They need Eternal Earth, Eternal Shadow, Eternal Water, and 4 Saronite bars, which, if you've got a mining alt or you're even a miner on your blacksmith, you can go around and get these fairly quickly. What you'll notice when we look at a pattern, or even if we actually look at making something in the blacksmithing screen, Titansteel bar pops up a lot. Now, Titansteel bars, they are going to be expensive, because firstly, you need to be mining to actually do it, and it's on a daily cooldown, and it requires 3 titanium bars, 1 Eternal Fire, 1 Eternal Shadow, and 1 Eternal Earth. Now, the titanium bars come from titanium ore, then you're going to need to turn the titanium bars into a Titansteel bar. So if you wanted to make one of these Titansteel bars, it should have a 20-hour cooldown. And I say it should have because it was actually removed in 3.3. But even on the basis that we'll probably be playing in a 3.3.5 patch state, you can expect there to be a cooldown on Titansteel bars, at least through the first couple of tiers of content. If that's not the case, it would be mental, because the one limiting factor to not having items flooded like this all over the auction house, especially with bots, will be the 20-hour cooldown. So you can assume that the 20-hour cooldown is going to be in place. So to try and make an epic, you're going to need 3 Titansteel bars for a Titansteel shield wall. So saying we want to make 1 epic item, it's going to take 3 miners' daily cooldowns. And at the start, you can imagine these daily cooldowns are going to be quite pricey, because lots of people are going to be wanting to get these items very, very quickly. That's not to take into account that it requires a frozen orb as well, which will come from the last boss in a heroic dungeon, as you would expect. And the Saronite bars are neither here nor there. But if you're wanting to get your shiny new shield crafted, expect to have to shell out a few hundred gold just on the Titansteel bar cooldowns, without having to worry about getting the titanium ore and even any of the Eternals that will go with it. So as you can expect, it's going to be quite pricey to get some of these epics made early on. But then as the expansion progresses, as I say, you're going to get new items like these ones, which definitely are going to be even more pricey, because these require runed orbs, and you're going to get runed orbs from Ulduar. So not only do you need a blacksmith to be able to raid Ulduar and get the recipes, you're actually going to need crafted reagents from the raid itself as well. So all of these items which are BOE from Ulduar, such as the boots, the belt of the Titans, indestructible plate girdle of righteousness, which is a fantastic healing belt, and even spiked death dealers for tanks, they're all 226 item level but require multiple runed orbs to make. So they are going to be expensive, but at the start of Ulduar, if you get your hands on these recipes earlier than other blacksmiths, you're going to be able to sell them all day long, even if you're asking people to bring you the mats, But if you can get the mats yourself, you'll be able to sell these for a decent amount of gold. And this is what I meant with blacksmithing. Throughout the expansion, you're going to have highs and lows. Beginning of each tier, or at the very start of Wrath of the Lich King, you're going to be on a high. And then as people start getting geared from the raid, it's going to go down. Once the new recipes come with Trial of the Crusader, or with Ice Crown Citadel, whichever, or Ulduar even, then obviously you're going to be able to make some gold if you can get the recipes first. And even people in your guild are going to want your help to get these made, because some of them are absolutely amazing, obviously, and they're a very early power spike in that tier of content. But the big one outside of making gold is obviously your personal bonus from your profession. And blacksmithing's incredible because it gives a lot of customization. Because it gives you a lot of customization, having 2 extra sockets meaning you can put anything in there that you want. You're not limited by the bonus spell power from enchanting, for example, or the attack power or spell power proc from the tailoring cloak. You pick whatever you want to go in. And as you may or may not know, a lot of melee classes, particularly towards the end of Ulduar and obviously through TOC, are going to want armor pen. And they will choose to socket armor pen over the likes of agility or attack power or strength, because they want to make up as much armor pen as they can to get to either the soft armor pen cap or the hard armor pen cap. As epic gems become available, your sockets become even more valuable. So they actually get better throughout the expansion. So if you're shy on hit at the beginning of the expansion, you can put some hit gems in. If you are stacking armor pen, you can put armor pen in. If you're a resto shaman who's stacking loads of haste, you can put extra haste in. It's just a way that you can get whatever stat you want. So actually, when it comes to how you customize your character, blacksmithing is solid. And you've got to remember, like I say, when the epic gems become available, blacksmithing is even more valuable. To begin with, when you're stuck with only the blue gems, it's okay, it's still good, but you can get better gains from other places, because mainly at the beginning of the expansion as well, if you was to take like hit and expertise that you possibly might socket out of the equation, you probably are just going to be stacking your primary stat like agility or strength or stamina if you're a tank. So I would say blacksmithing definitely gets better like halfway through the expansion, let's say, whereas dual crafting, which we're going to talk about hopefully tomorrow, obviously that stays strong from start to finish. But even that, when you think about it, when the epic gems come out, they're getting slightly closer to the prismatic or the dragon eye gems that you can make, which are for personal use. Dual crafting actually starts off really strong, gets slightly weaker. Blacksmithing starts off strong and gets really stronger. Oh, that made sense. So basically, no matter what class you play, blacksmithing is a solid choice. You can use it for gold making, or literally you just use it for the 2 sockets and you never craft anything else. Maybe the odd belt buckle just to make a bit of gold with, or when you need your own belt buckle. But overall, Wrath of the Lich King, blacksmith, really good. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe so you don't miss all the other profession videos, because I'm covering every profession and I'm trying to get through them all this week. So at the weekend, I can put out one big video on the absolute best profession combo for each class, for each phase. Because believe it or not, by phase, it will change. So roll that outro. There's lots of ways you can support the channel to keep me here putting out World of Warcraft content and covering all future MMOs. Consider joining the channel as a member. You get access to emotes. Everyone will know you're a member when you comment on future videos, because you get a nice icon next to your name. And you get access to members-only videos, which I'll be putting a lot of on the channel throughout the year. Additionally, there's a Patreon link in the description as well. Thank you for watching all the way to the end, and I'll see you on the next one.